I've learned that when death is near, it doesn't usually announce itself. It arrives quietly, almost respectfully. The room changes before the body does. In hospice, there are moments when words stop being useful. The machines are quieter. The questions fade. What remains is presence, sitting close, listening to the spaces between breaths, noticing what isn't being said. There's a certain stillness that comes with these hours. Not frightening, not rushed, just a gentle slowing, as if the body is remembering something ancient and familiar. Families often ask me how they'll know. I tell them it's not one sign, not one moment. It's a series of small realizations, so subtle you feel them more than you see them. This narration isn't about fear or timelines. It's about awareness, about recognizing the quiet signals the body gives when it's preparing to rest, and learning how to meet that moment with calm love and respect. There is a point in hospice when the body begins to speak in a different language. Not loudly, not urgently, but in small, honest signals that ask to be noticed rather than explained. You don't always recognize it right away. At first, it just feels like a shift in the room. Conversations slow down, the air feels heavier, not in a bad way, just more still. People sit closer without realizing why. Voices soften on their own. One of the first things I notice is how energy changes. A person who once wanted the television on or asked about the time or followed the rhythm of the day begins to turn inward. It's not depression, it's not giving up, it's more like conserving what's left. They sleep more, but the sleep is different. It's deeper, longer, and harder to interrupt. When they wake, their eyes may open, but they don't always focus. Sometimes they look past you, not because they don't recognize you, but because their attention is no longer anchored to the room. Appetite fades gently. This is one of the hardest signs for families to accept. We're taught that eating is living, that food is care, that offering one more bite is an act of love. But near the end, the body doesn't ask for fuel anymore. It's not hunger that's missing, it's need. The digestive system slows down the same way everything else does. Sips replace meals, ice chips replace sips. Eventually, even those aren't desired. And the absence of eating doesn't cause suffering the way people fear. The body knows how to let go of hunger before it lets go of life. Breathing begins to change, sometimes so gradually you don't notice until you look back. The rhythm becomes uneven. There may be long pauses that feel uncomfortable to witness, followed by a deep breath that sounds like a sigh. Families often think these breaths mean pain or distress, but most of the time they don't. They're simply the body adjusting to less oxygen, finding a new pace that requires less effort. Sometimes there's a sound, a soft rattling in the throat caused by secretions the person no longer has the strength to clear. It can be unsettling, but it's rarely uncomfortable for the person themselves. The body is already prioritizing rest over response. Hands and feet grow cooler. Circulation changes direction, focusing on vital organs instead of the edges of the body. Skin may become mottled with patches of purple or blue appearing on the legs or arms. It looks alarming if you don't expect it, but it's another quiet sign of redistribution, not emergency. The body is closing doors it no longer needs. Speech becomes limited. Words require energy, and energy is precious now. Some people speak less and less, choosing silence over effort. Others speak in short sentences or repeat the same phrases. Sometimes they talk about things that don't seem connected to the present moment. They may mention people who have already died, or talk as if they're preparing for a trip. This isn't confusion in the way illness causes confusion. It's often a form of transition, the mind loosening its grip on linear time. There are moments when someone who has been quiet suddenly becomes alert. They may open their eyes wide, speak clearly, ask for a specific person, or say something that feels important. Families often see this as a sign of recovery, a sudden turn for the better, but in hospice, we recognize it as something else, a brief gathering of strength, like a candle burning brighter just before it goes out. These moments are tender. They feel like gifts. They don't last long. Pain, when it exists, is managed carefully. Contrary to what many fear, dying is not automatically painful. Discomfort can happen, but it is not the defining feature of the process. What I see far more often is a growing detachment from physical sensation. The body is no longer interested in reporting every signal to the brain. It's simplifying. Emotional changes are just as present as physical ones. Some people become very calm, even if they were anxious their entire lives. Others express unresolved feelings, asking for forgiveness or offering it. Sometimes there are to ears without clear reasons. Sometimes there is laughter that surprises everyone in the room. These emotions don't follow a script. They rise and fall like waves, each one carrying something that needed to be felt before release. Hearing is often one of the last senses to fade. Even when a person no longer responds, no longer opens their eyes, they may still hear voices. This is why presence matters so much, why gentle words matter, why silence, when shared intentionally, can be more comforting than conversation. Sitting quietly, holding a hand, speaking softly about ordinary things, all of it registers in ways we can't measure. As death draws closer, the body's movements become minimal. Repositioning may be needed for comfort, but the person themselves rarely initiates movement. Muscles relax, the jaw may loosen, the mouth may stay slightly open, eyes may remain partially open even during sleep. These changes can be startling if you're not prepared, but they are not signs of distress. They are signs of letting go. Time becomes difficult to track. Minutes stretch, hours compress. Families often say it feels like the room exists outside of normal time. There's a sense that something is approaching, but not urgently, more like an arrival that will happen when everything is ready. The body seems to be in conversation with itself, making decisions quietly without asking permission. There are moments when the person reaches out, either physically or emotionally. A hand may lift slightly. Fingers may curl as if holding something invisible. These gestures are small, easy to miss, but they feel significant. They carry meaning even if we can't explain it. Sometimes a single tear falls. Sometimes a deep breath leaves the body and doesn't return for a while. The face changes, features soften, tension releases from the forehead and jaw. There's often a peacefulness that settles in. Even if the journey there was difficult, the person no longer seems burdened by the weight they carried in life. Responsibilities, regrets, expectations, all of it loosens its hold. Families often sit in these moments, wondering what they should be doing. The truth is, there's nothing to fix, nothing to solve. Being there is enough. The body doesn't need encouragement to keep going, and it doesn't need permission to stop. It simply needs space to finish what it knows how to do. As the end nears, breathing patterns become more irregular. The pauses grow longer, the breaths grow shallower. Sometimes there is a breath that feels final, followed by another that surprises everyone. This can happen more than once. The body doesn't follow our expectations. It follows its own timing. The room itself seems to respond. Sounds feel farther away. Light feels softer. People lower their voices instinctively. Even those who don't understand what's happening sense that something sacred is unfolding, something that doesn't require explanation. In these hours, the signs are not dramatic. There is no single moment that announces what's coming. Instead, there is a gradual layering of changes, each one building on the last. Cooling skin, quiet breathing, closed eyes, stillness. Each sign alone might not mean much, but together they tell a story the body has told countless times before. What stays with me is how personal each passing is, even though the signs are familiar. No two endings feel the same. The rhythm is unique. The silence has its own texture. The final hours are shaped by the life that came before them, by the love present in the room, by the unspoken understanding shared between breaths. Sometimes death comes when the room is full. Sometimes it waits until everyone steps out just for a moment. I've seen people hold on until a loved one arrives, and I've seen them let go only after goodbyes are said. I've also seen people leave quietly without ceremony, as if slipping out unnoticed was the way they lived and the way they chose to go. The signs don't demand attention. They invite it. They ask us to slow down, to stop searching for control, to trust a process older than any of us. The body knows when it's time. It doesn't need us to guide it, only to witness it with gentleness. In the end, what I remember most is not the exact moment of death, but the moments leading up to it, the quiet understanding, the shared stillness, the realization that nothing more needs to be done and that being present fully and honestly is the most meaningful response to a body that is finishing its work. When life is nearing its end, words slowly lose their usefulness. They don't disappear all at once. They just begin to feel heavier, less accurate, less necessary. Conversations that once mattered start to fall away. Questions no longer need answers. Explanations don't bring comfort the way they used to. What remains, what becomes essential, is presence. I see it happen in the room before anyone names it. Chairs are pulled closer. Phones are set down and forgotten. People stop checking the time. They sit, not because they know what to do, but because leaving feels wrong. Something inside them understands that being there matters more than saying the right thing. Presence isn't dramatic. It doesn't look like speeches or constant reassurance. Most of the time, it looks like silence. A hand resting on another hand. A body leaning close so warmth can be shared. A breath matching another breath without intention. Presence is quiet agreement. I am here. You are not alone. As the body weakens, it no longer has the strength to respond to words the way it once did. Questions can feel exhausting. Even loving encouragement can feel like pressure. I've learned to watch for that moment when talking becomes a burden, when the effort to listen outweighs the comfort of being spoken to. That's when silence becomes a gift. Silence in hospice is not empty. It's full. It holds memories, emotions, unspoken love, unfinished sentences that no longer need completion. Sitting in silence with someone who is dying feels different than any other silence. It's slower, softer. It asks you to stay instead of filling the space. People often worry that they're not doing enough. They ask what they should say, what final words they should offer. I tell them that the body understands far more than we realize. Tone matters more than language. Calm matters more than content. Even when hearing begins to fade, the presence of someone familiar carries comfort that doesn't rely on words. There's a moment when eye contact changes. The eyes may open, but they don't search the room anymore. They don't follow movement. Instead, they rest. And when someone meets that gaze gently, without expectation, something settles. There's no need to perform or respond. Just being seen, even briefly, feels enough. Emotional truth surfaces more easily when words fall away. People don't hide the way they used to. If they're peaceful, you feel it immediately. If they're unsettled, it shows in their breathing, in the tension of their hands. Presence allows you to respond to what's real, not what's being said. I've watched families sit through long hours without conversation, simply existing together. At first, it feels uncomfortable. People shift, clear their throats, search for something to say. Then, slowly, the discomfort dissolves. They realize that nothing bad happens when they stop talking. In fact, something tender takes its place. Sometimes presence means bearing witness to pain even when it's controlled, not fixing it, not explaining it away, just acknowledging it with a squeeze of the hand, a steady voice saying, "I'm here." Pain becomes easier to carry when it's not carried alone. Other times, presence means allowing joy to surface unexpectedly, a shared memory, a quiet laugh, a smile that appears out of nowhere. These moments don't disrespect the seriousness of death. They honor the fullness of life that still exists in the room. As the body grows weaker, it begins to rely on others for comfort in new ways. Repositioning, moistening dry lips, adjusting blankets. These small acts become expressions of presence. They say, without words, your comfort matters, even now. Touch becomes a language of its own, the warmth of a palm, the familiar weight of a hand on a shoulder, even when sensation is limited. The nervous system recognizes safe, loving contact. It grounds the body when everything else feels uncertain. There are moments when families apologize for not knowing what to do. I remind them that they're already doing it, sitting, staying, breathing in the same space. The body of someone who is dying doesn't need entertainment or conversation. It needs reassurance that it is not being abandoned. Presence also means respecting when someone needs less interaction. Sometimes the most loving thing is to sit quietly without touching, without speaking, allowing the person to rest without stimulation. Presence adapts, it listens, it doesn't insist. As death draws closer, the room often becomes quieter on its own. People lower their voices instinctively. Movements become slower. Even footsteps soften. It's as if everyone senses that the space deserves gentleness. In these hours, emotional truths surface without effort. Love becomes obvious. Regret may appear briefly, then fade. Gratitude lingers. There's a sense of honesty that doesn't require discussion. Presence allows these emotions to exist without being analyzed. I've seen people who spent a lifetime avoiding vulnerability become completely open in their final days, not through words, but through stillness. the way they accept care, the way they stop resisting help, the way their breathing relaxes when someone sits nearby. Families sometimes worry that their loved one does. No, they're there because there's no response. But the body responds in subtle ways. A slight change in breathing, a relaxed jaw, a calmness that wasn't there before. These are quiet acknowledgments. Presence continues even when consciousness fades, even when eyes no longer open, even when speech has stopped completely. Being in the room still matters. Energy is felt, familiarity is felt, love is felt. I've witnessed moments when someone seemed to wait. They remained alive, breathing softly for hours or even days, until a certain person arrived or a certain moment passed. Presence has a timing of its own. It doesn't rush. And I've seen people let go when the room finally empties, when they are alone for just a moment. Presence had already done its work. Permission had already been given. Without words, there is a misconception that death requires something to be said, some final message to be delivered. In reality, most of what matters has already been communicated through years of shared presence. The end doesn't need a summary. As caregivers, we learn to be comfortable with not knowing exactly what someone hears, not knowing what they feel, not knowing when the final breath will come. Presence allows us to stay without answers. It's not passive, it's attentive. It notices changes in breathing. It notices tension. It responds gently, adjusting care, adjusting tone, adjusting energy. Presence is active in the quietest way. In the final hours, time feels suspended. There's no urgency to speak, no need to fill the space. The room holds what it needs to hold. The body does what it knows how to do. What remains always is the simple act of staying, of choosing not to look away, of allowing the reality of the moment to exist without resistance. Presence doesn't try to make death meaningful. It recognizes that meaning is already there. Even after the body has grown still, presence lingers. In the silence, in the air, in the shared understanding that something important has passed and that being there mattered more than anything that could have been said.